Does anyone want to raise their hand and ask a question in person? Yes.
So we are in our final semester, and so we're thinking about kind of starting next year. And on my prac, I've been very lucky to come into classrooms that already have a wonderful classroom culture, classroom environment, kind of the rules and procedures and respect is already kind of set up, and I've been really lucky I can just like slip into their already created classroom culture. I was wondering what you guys do at the start of your year, because I know we learn a lot, but there's so many different things being said, so I'd just love to hear like what you guys as like new teachers and experienced teachers do to like start your year and even like build rapport with students, and kind of, I know like I feel like they won't, respect me, or like I feel so close to their age. So just things like that, how do you kind of build that at the start?
You mentioned being close to their age, so I'll shove that to Liz first. Liz, how do you set up your classroom before the year? Do you think about what type of kids you'll have? Do you get your class list? Do you have a behaviour management plan? Do you have your classroom seating plan? Like, what extents do you go to set up your classroom before the year officially begins?
That's a really good question, actually. At BBC, we're lucky because we usually get to go on a camp. So obviously that's a great icebreaker for the kids. But usually I don't just start off with, this is what we're learning, okay, jump straight into it. Don't do that. Actually just do some of the old school activities, go around, ask the kids what they did on their holidays, and take a mental note. Don't give them a seating plan. Check where they sit, where they want to sit. Because usually sometimes they're sitting with their friends or something like that. It could eventually down the track maybe become a little bit of a problem, or they get a bit disruptive. So try and work out who's friends with who, do a few little icebreak activities, look at their reports from the previous year as well. I find that can be very telling. Not so much grades, but just general comments from teachers. So if you have time or the luxury to know who you're teaching before the day, go back through. If you know any of their teachers from your prac, if you get a job at your prac school, maybe just have a chat to them when they have time about a few of the kids. But rapport, as you all would know, isn't really something you can just make happen on day one. It takes a lot of effort. My father's a teacher, and the rule he always told me was don't smile before Easter. So you do really need to be quite firm with them, I suppose, and set those boundaries to begin with. But eventually, once they know you respect them and they respect you, the rapport will eventually happen.
Scott, what steps do you put in place to prepare your year before the kids come rushing in day one?
I usually go in a couple of days before and just sort of get my head around, one which classes I've got. Two, I completely ignore their previous year's work. I completely ignore it because I want to get a read on the student themselves. I don't need to be. This is where I agree with Louis on data. Sometimes, numbers, they don't help you get to the actual person. So I actually get them to write me a letter. All right, I do. I get them to write me a letter. What do you want me to know about you? All right, I tell them a little bit about myself, obviously, but then I'll say, what do you want me to know about you? And you open that question up. The boys generally are quite brief. They're like, yeah, I like soccer, yeah. That's about it. That's all you get. My favourite ice cream is chocolate. Thanks. Bye. But the girls might actually open up. Do you know what I mean? It's not always the case. Sometimes there's differences. But what you find is, they will open up a little bit more. All right, and then you file away little details about them. You do look like it's just been said. I don't have a seating plan initially, but you can see who gravitates where pretty quick. You develop an instinct, don't you? You can go, right, well, let's flip the classroom around. You come to the front, you come to the back. You just flip the back row to the front row. That's always a good way. Front row to the back. Just play with it. Just explain to them that's not a permanent seat in the classroom. This is my classroom. This isn't yours. All right? And you say something without saying anything. Does that make sense? So if you're not a confrontational person, and generally that's not the best way to get through to kids anyway, that's the best way to deal with it. And just have a little session where you talk about what you like and what you expect your rules to be, and then just model it. All right? Just be consistent. The most powerful thing you can do in any classroom is be consistent. All right? The minute that they feel consistency, they feel safe, they'll open up, you'll get better work out of them. That's the best gift you can give them.